You're listening to the Claret and Big Blue podcast on the Pass the Gravy Podcast Network.
What do you think you are? I am!
Goat's vagina, that thing was huge.
Don't give
You said that, not me.
Just come on.
Taken away by Wicks. Slut TV! Oh, it's glorious! Play action. Over the middle. Touchdown, Giants. Give me a hell yeah.
And we are live.
We'll do it live!
Welcome everyone to Claret and Big Blue, probably the only podcast on the internet dedicated to New York Giants and West Ham United. That's right, football and football. Balls for everyone's taste. I am a incredibly exhausted Mike Fish, and I'm joined by someone who's probably pretty tired himself, Mr. Alex Middleton. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. What are you so tired from, buddy? What's got you down?
Well, it wasn't going back. It was too high. I was too high this weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, obviously. So, did I mention last week? Did I tell you what my plans were for this Labor Day weekend?
Was it it was not a brewery. That was for your birthday weekend.
That was the weekend before. No, so me and my wife, and her family, we rented a house in Vermont.
Ooh.
Which is like a 6-hour drive from here, and then from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we just did nothing but drank and sat on the lake. And then 6-hour drive back on Sunday, and then continuation of the drinking. And then Monday, since we had off, we was day drinking and then night drinking.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but today, like, my body's... You know when you, like, sometimes your body's like, dude...
Hey, buddy, chill out.
We need a break. So, screw that. But,
So that'll show it.
Gotta top it up.
There you go.
But you had a pretty exciting weekend. Hosting, is it a music festival? Can you count it as a festival
like
if no one's...
Festival. There's multiple bands there.
See, I always think a festival is when there's like multiple days and you have to camp. That's what a festival means to me.
Not always. Yeah, that is a festival also. But BuzzFest, we had a bunch of bands. So we had The Offspring, POD, Aaron Jones. We had a local band called Mirror Lake, Chevelle.
Ooh.
And then The Offspring closed things out and were awesome. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was like the first show we've had back since the pandemic, really. And I got COVID tested, so I was negative. So everybody on all of our social stuff, there was like, "Oh, COVID's gonna love this." I was like, "Motherfucker, I got tested, so chill out." All right. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. That was probably the most fun I've had at one of the BuzzFests. I've done so many of them at this point. But Aaron Jones, if you haven't looked him up, I would highly recommend it. That guy absolutely rocks. His whole band is awesome. And then The Offspring is like one of those bands where you just like, you may not love The Offspring every time they come out with anything, but when they play live, like every single song of theirs is a hit. Like they have so many hits that you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can fuck with this.
But I imagine the problem with The Offspring is, because I remember I had a similar... I'm very white, by the way. I need to turn my light down, but anyway. Is because they've
You've always
been
been white, pal.
Yeah, I didn't get a single fucking tan this weekend. With The Offspring, they've been around for so long. They've had so many hits that sometimes...
Like Green Day.
Like, yeah, but I remember I had a problem when I went to see The Cure in London. And they played for like 2 hours. I froze there, didn't I?
Yeah. I was like,
I don't know if
you lost me or what, but
they have so much back catalogue that even when they're filling a 2-hour show, you're still going to probably miss a bunch of their hits, which is kind of... Was that what happened to The Offspring?
No, The Offspring, like, it was like from start to finish, just absolutely like hit after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. My girlfriend had to go pee at one point and was about to get up, and then my buddy Rod that we did the morning show with, my boss, was like, "What are you doing?" No, they're about to do they do this Gone Away. They do like a piano cover of it, and they were pulling out the piano to do that. And he was like, "What are you doing? You're gonna miss this." And then like after that was over, then like Get a Job. Why don't you get a job was on, and then it was just like every single hit, like every single next one. She was like, "I love this one too. This is a good one too." And it was just like I was like, "Just wait till the show's over. We'll go pee after that. Like you're good."
And then she peed herself.
And she peed
That's
everywhere.
the punch.
I know.
And
Whatever
Chevelle, did they play The Red? That's the only Chevelle song that I can think of off the top of my head.
They did.
That's a great song.
It's a great one.
Like,
Chevelle always
that makes you like
is
clench
nails.
your fists.
Then Wolfie Van Halen,
Sure.
like Eddie Van Halen's son. We had that. He played as well. That was pretty awesome.
Sorry, I thought that was like a song that I hadn't heard of by Chevelle. I was like, oh, now it looks stupid.
No.
That's pretty cool. Was he like solo act or did he have like a band?
He's got like a band and everything, but like, he's like the lead guy. But it was awesome to see all like live music really again.
Van Halen Jr. That's the band.
No, he's not gonna play his dad's stuff. That's a big thing with him, which makes sense. It's like I'm my own thing, dude.
Not even Jump.
No. Imagine like going like your dad's like some famous musician everywhere. They go like, play Jump. Like that would get annoying as fuck. I get it.
Just change your name then. That's what
No.
I'm saying.
Well, he goes by Mammoth WVH.
Oh, I like that. That's a good name. Mammoth.
Mammoth.
Anyway, other than being very tired, we're also very, very excited because finally all the preseason nonsense is over and we actually have competitive Giants football back again on Sunday when the Giants play the Denver Broncos, who, top of my memory, I actually looked this up a couple of hours ago. It's 5-11, I think, last year. So technically worse than the Giants.
Right.
And do you remember them strengthening anything up in the preseason? Or are we just going to boss this game?
I mean, they got Teddy Bridgewater, who's starting over Drew Lock. I feel like that's an upgrade. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of an upgrade it is, but I don't think Drew Lock was going to be the answer at quarterback there. They added a running back to go along with Melvin Gordon. They got, what was his, Javonte Williams. They have Javonte Williams, who's probably going to start, I believe, over Melvin Gordon. So you're going to have like a two-headed running attack with the Broncos as well. They have Jerry Jeudy still, Cortland Sutton, I believe. Like they've got a pretty not stacked, but like a serviceable team. I think our defense, if you have to go our defense against their offense, I would say that our defense gets the edge in that. But then again, if you look at it the other way, I don't know if our offense is going to be able to beat their defense. I really feel like it's going to come down to the passing game. And, I mean, offensive line is going to win or lose us this game.
Do you think it's going to be pretty, I don't say boring, but do you think it's going to be a low-scoring game?
If I had to predict, I would say, like, I feel like it's going to be like 17-10, 17, like 17-13, 17-20-ish, like something like that. So maybe like I don't think it'll be super low scoring. Usually in the beginning of the season, some teams like, you know, you haven't gotten everything figured out, especially with the 3 weeks of preseason for the first time. I think there's going to be some slip-ups on both sides. And, you know, there's always like one or two big plays on the first couple weeks of the season. So I would expect those. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it'll kind of be a track meet a little bit in the beginning, but I could see it like tapering off. I don't think it's going to be like a 42-41 game or anything like that.
Right. So, I mean, obviously I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask this question anyway. If you think this is going to be a very passing-heavy game, do you perceive them maybe, not necessarily benching him for the game, but going a little light on Saquon Barkley's game time this time? If you think maybe it's going to be, hey, it's going to be a passing game, is there any point of risking him too much? So I think 100% he's going to feature. Obviously, he's going to feature in the game, but
he's going to play. I don't know. I think it just depends on how the game goes. I mean, really, you have to open up the play action game with the run game. So I think you have to establish the run against a really tough Broncos front. And if you can establish the run, then like you're a two-headed attack. The Giants so many times last year were like the run game wasn't working, or the run game was the only thing that was working, and it was just like you have to have both. And if they can't establish both, it's going to be a long day. I think we're going to see some struggles from I think it's all in that offensive line. That offensive line gets established, can help that run game open up. I think then like Danny has the play action to work with. They've got the receivers. They've got the tools. Whether it be Shepard, I think Shepard's gonna have a big year. I don't know. I feel like Shepard's gonna have a solid year. Whether it's Shepard though, or Galladay, who we just got, or Tony, or Slayton, and I mean we have Kyle Rudolph at the tight end position, as well as Evan fucking Ingram, who I still am not very high on, but you know you've got the weapons this year, so it's got to come down to that offensive line and get it done. And if they can get it done and give Danny what he needs, then I think that the Giants win this game. If they can't, then yeah, this could be a really shitty start to the season.
I think on the plus side with Evan Ingram is that he pissed everyone off so much last year that I think if he just completes one catch, everyone will be like, holy shit, he's turning this game around.
What is this? Maybe he's got it figured out.
But isn't this his... Not maybe he's like last year in his contract or
like a contract year, yeah.
So hopefully that inspires him, because I think his reputation isn't its strongest right now. So either way, he's gonna have to fight for his place on the Giants, or impress enough to where if he does get cut by the Giants, he needs to find somewhere else to go. So hopefully that inspires him to a stand-up season. One player I want to say concerned about, but he's been very quiet for a couple of reasons, is Kadarius Toney. What do you... I mean, I know we're going to like preview, I guess I don't want to preview the whole season, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you see him going this year?
I mean, he had some injuries. I think he had COVID he was battling back from, and I think he should be a full send for opening day. I feel like it's going to be kind of whether or not, like, I don't know who's going to be the third guy, the primary third option between him and Darius Slayton. Because Darius Slayton and Danny Dimes, you know, that first season with Danny, they seemed like they had such a connection. Last year it kind of fell off. I feel like Slayton wasn't 100% healthy the whole time. But it'll be interesting to see, like, where Slayton establishes himself. Because I feel like Slayton isn't really, like, the traditional type of third, like, slot receiver. Kadarius Toney, the smaller, quick guy, I think that, you know, he fits that third role better, which would put Slayton as like a fourth guy, putting him on the outside, because Slayton's better at like running a post or running those deeper routes, where that was where Danny was able to find him. He's got the speed to beat corners, and if you can beat him on the inside, like Slayton would be a solid like complement to Galladay now on the opposite side. Hopefully some big plays can open up that way if you go four wide receiver sets like that. But I think that you'll probably see just kind of like an even mix of Slayton and Toney in that third receiver spot. But I would not be surprised to see quite a few, quite a bit of looks at like four wide receiver sets.
Yeah. And just generally across the season, obviously you can never
ease Toney into it.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, obviously injuries and things like that can occur. Touch wood, they don't. But with now, I feel this is like the first season, definitely of Daniel Jones's era, where we actually have a relatively strong offense across the board, in that we have running backs healthy, we have wide receivers aplenty now. Do you see this being like the big year where we actually... Because last year we didn't have that many big scoring games, if I'm remembering.
Towards the end of the season, we were able to kind of pile it on, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know, man.
Because last year it was the defense, as Americans say, that won us a lot of the games.
Definitely, Patrick Graham, that entire defensive unit was awesome, and I think I saw today we're the youngest defensive unit in the league. This is a team that's set to this isn't win this year kind of team. I'm not saying. I think Danny, this is a must improve year. The Giants have to take another step forward. Like, I would like to see a significant step forward from this team, and I think that if you see like that, if the Giants, if this is if it's a 9-10 win team and they slightly miss out on the playoffs, I'm gonna be upset. Like, I'll be disappointed, but like if we see improvement on this team that's going forward, like, okay, this is something to build with. If Joe Judge, the culture that he's building in this team, in this locker room, if that takes another step forward, I think that, yeah, I mean, the Giants, they could be a sneaky team. They could fuck around. They could win the division. The Giants could also, like, this could all implode. And if Danny doesn't have a good season this year, I really think that he's in some trouble going forward.
I think I don't think
this is a make year really for him. I feel like people are throwing that around a lot, but I mean, I don't know if it really is, but I think you bring another person in to like compete for that job if Jones does not take the next step. But I think he will. I do think he will. I think Daniel has the tools. I think he's got the pieces around him. I think if he gets that offensive line help, then yeah, I think Daniel Jones could be a really, really, really good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I don't think this is like or even make the playoffs, or it's a failure. But I think after the last few years, we definitely need to have at least a winning season. Otherwise, I think there's going to be a lot of changes in the postseason, whether it be management or new quarterback. But obviously, if we just like absolutely tank it and do horrible, then obviously wholesale changes is needed. But I still feel that with Joe Judge, Daniel Jones, and the other players he's brought in around him, even though it's his third year, I still think we've put too much investment in building the team around him.
I think the only thing with Jones, though, I get what you're saying, but like Jones wasn't drafted by Joe Judge, and until like Judge gets his guy, I think there's always that in the back of my head where it's like, if this doesn't work out, Judge isn't on the hook for that. It's easy to be like, nope, we're getting a new quarterback, because if the Giants suck this year, they're going to have a high draft pick. They have the Bears pick. The Bears are very possibly going to not be a very good team. So the Giants could have, like, worst case scenario, they could have 2 picks in the top 10.
Could you imagine if
I
the Bears
don't want
and
even.
the Giants...
We're not even going to talk about that.
No,
it's not going to happen. Okay, the Giants are going to be good. The Bears can still be bad, and we'll get that top 10 pick. But I think, like, then at that point, yeah, like I think Judge has to get a guy that he wants. If there's a guy that he wants to go after and get, then like that's what's holding him back. I don't think Judge gets fired unless the Giants like win 1 game or 2 games. You know, if that, like, yeah, then everybody's out. But right now, I think they put too much in place at this point for the like Judge is building something, and I think we're going to see the fruits of that labor going forward this year. I think you're going to have a very competitive Giants team as compared to the beginning of last year, where it was just kind of like, oh, cool, they showed up and got rolled. Neat. I think we're going to have a solid team.
I mean, the best case scenario is that because I know there's certain ways of like, so no matter what, obviously, if we go perfect season and win the Super Bowl, no matter what, if the Bears tank the season, we still get their pick, right? That's like they can't.
If the Bears get the number 1 overall pick next year, we get it.
So there is a possibility that we could win the Super Bowl and still get the number 1 pick next year.
Possible.
That's amazing.
That'd be really sick, wouldn't it?
Has that ever happened before?
I don't believe so. I know that the Patriots won it 1 year and they got like the 4th pick or the 5th pick. I think they took Patrick Willis with it. No, they didn't. That wasn't Patrick Willis. He went to the 49ers. You can't remember who they took.
You're not Rain Man.
Brandon Spikes. Brandon Spikes. Because it was Deflategate, I want to say, because they lost their pick because of Deflategate, but they won the Super Bowl that year, and they got the 49ers pick.
That was a whole mess. That was. Was that the Super Bowl where like the lights went out as well, or was that the one before?
No, that was the 49ers Ravens. The Giants won the previous one. Because I remember joking that the Giants were just champs for a little bit longer.
So I remember watching that on a Sunday night into Monday morning in the UK, obviously being very late, and then it just dragged out because of those goddamn lights, and I was like,
I'm not doing this.
Fuck tomorrow. I think I managed. No, actually, no. I think I fell asleep in the end, but whatever. Because I think because that went on for the outage was about an hour, 2 hours, right? It was a long one. Oh, there you go. But in summary, so yes, exciting season, I think, to look ahead. So what is? I know you threw out some numbers. Well, let's officially write this down. So what is your official Claret and Big Blue prediction for Giants Broncos?
Because the Giants can't ever win big, it's going to be 24-17.
But we're winning, right?
We're winning.
24-17.
Duh. Saquon scores. Danny throws a couple tutties.
I'm going to go even more conservative, and I'm going to go with Giants 17-13 Broncos.
I could see that happening as well.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, and Gano getting his foot back after he pissed it up the wall in the preseason with a couple of kicks.
One of the best kickers in the league. Don't worry. Preseason doesn't matter.
Preseason does not matter. But yep, we're going to talk about next week. Giants being 1-0. Perfect season to start. Speaking of another perfect season, West Ham United still undefeated in the Premier League. I know we touched on it last week with the new signings, and then we've got Southampton coming up this weekend. I believe it's on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
I always love it
Saturday
when West Ham
morning.
play, especially during the NFL season, when West Ham play on Sunday. That's like the best Sundays ever.
I go to the bar to watch the games, so I get that internal debate where it's like, do I go home after the West Ham game and watch the Giants? Because I really I have it down to like a system. Like it fucks me up when when West Ham game is on, when the West Ham game is Sundays, because especially if the Giants have a noon kickoff. Like if it were this weekend, I'm okay because I can just head over home. But on Sundays, I wake up, I look at the betting lines, I start I'll be like, okay, I like these guys, and then I kind of hang out to that early pregame show, and then when the Fox the 11 o'clock pregame starts, then I'm like, all right, let's enter in all these bets, get them ready to go. You're checking your fantasy lineups. You're double there's a whole system that goes on, and then when I have to do that on my phone at the bar, it makes you feel
rushed.
Me feel like I'm just thrown off. Even if I'm not, I'm just thrown off. And you're trying to focus on West Ham, but you also want to look at the game, and it's just a whole process that I like to have the Saturday West Ham game into college football, and then I like to have NFL Sunday.
You gotta have a thing.
But
if the
Giants play at noon. If the Giants play at noon, though, and West Ham has the 9 o'clock game, then I'm like, do I drive home right after that? Because the Giants game's already going to start by the time that, West Ham is finished at that point. And it's do I finish? Now am I going to be at the bar for 6 hours? Or, on a Sunday, there's a huge degree of, variations on that, where it's 6 hours at the bar on a Sunday is a little bit different, especially watching your team, where I'm going to not drink.
Yeah. Yeah, it could get messy. Unless we finally launch the official Claret and Big Brew bar, where they just have West Ham and the Giants on the screen all the time.
True.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be pretty sick.
Do you think there's a market in Houston, or do you think we might have to do that here in New York?
I don't know if there's a market for this podcast 100%, and it's worldwide. So what are our listeners, and how many of them live in Houston?
When we finally do that live in-person episode, and that our 2 fans turn up.
4 people that show up, those guys. So maybe not the best idea to open a bar aimed at 4 people. Hey, you might not love it, but these 4 guys, they think it's the best thing ever.
But I imagine they'd be drinkers, so we might be okay.
That's true. You have to buy a lot of drinks.
Yeah. You need to spend $1,000 every day to keep this bar open. If you're dedicated, you're a real fan, you'll do it.
Come on. Support us,
So Southampton, so obviously looking at the tail of the tape, Southampton's had a bit of a weird year this year so far. They haven't won yet, but they drew against Manchester United, who are obviously doing pretty well. But then they also drew against Newcastle, who West Ham destroyed 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those awkward games where you're like, which Southampton's going to turn up, and then West Ham. Well, not which West Ham's going to turn up, because they've been dominant this whole year. But
true.
How do you see it? Because obviously we're going to have some. I would be shocked if we don't have any lineup changes. I think we're definitely going to have at least one.
We have Europa going into next week because we're going to have Saturday, Thursday this week. That's the first time.
Yeah,
so
indeed.
you have to like what's going on for that? Are we going to have Areola starting in net, or is it going to be Fabianski and Fabianski gets the European games, or do we do vice versa?
I think because considering, we have. I mean, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but yes, we have Dynamo Zagreb, I believe, a week on Thursday in the Europa League, and who are currently top of the Croatian league. I don't know what it's called, if it's called a fancy thing. So, would you, going against Southampton, who've only got 2 points this year out of 9, do you start to think, if Alex Middleton is the manager of West Ham United, do you go into this game thinking, okay, I need to save a couple for the Europa League, or do you field the strongest team this time and save some in the Europa League, or do you just think, fuck it, I'm going to try and field the strongest team in both games?
I mean, because so you have Southampton Saturday, Thursday you got Europa, then you have Man United next Sunday. So like,
and then I think don't we have Man United?
Yeah, but like I don't fucking care about that. That's the one we were just like, who gives a shit? Like that's the one that if we can just go 3 games where we just give like an A+ lineup out there, we can start some backups after that. But I think it's too early in the season to like give up a game, you know.
Well, no,
especially the way we played in the last, especially the way we played in our last game. I feel like you have to roll out Antonio, don't you?
Yeah. Now, what I was kind of getting at is that let's just say West Ham continue the trend of having the number 1 goalkeeper in the Premier League and then the number 2 goalkeeper in cups.
Yeah.
Would you use that same logic in the Europa League, considering our opponents, or do you?
I think Areola is like. I mean, he's the starting quality keeper anyway. So yeah, I feel like you give him the Europa games. He's got the experience with PSG in European football, where Fabianski maybe hasn't had that. I guess he did play for Arsenal, but you just don't have it as recently. And I think really like if you look at the draw we got in Europa, the Dinamo Zagreb or whatever they are is the toughest of the 3 opponents we're going to face in this group stage. Yeah, and then I don't know what the other twos are. The other one is, but like this is one you got to go out there and you got to get that win right off the bat. And so I feel like you got to roll out your best lineup both games, and then just hope that whatever you can get. Like, do you start Noble against Southampton? Like, I don't know.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Do you rest Rice? Do you pull? I think we're going to see some early subs. I think we're definitely going to see that. That's probably a more likely.
David Moyes never makes early subs unless there's an injury. He loves a good 88
David Moyes traditionally doesn't
sub.
play Europa football, so I don't know.
That's true. I mean, I could definitely see.
I think that's the best option at that point. Like let's just go out there, score 4 goals in the first half, kind of lay back. You can pull out some guys early. Like I'd be cool with that. That'd be sick.
Like I could definitely see, for example, like in the Southampton game, I could definitely see Dawson being dropped with Kurt Zuma being brought in to play that game. And then,
but then Dawson starts Europa.
Maybe, yeah. I could see that.
Okay.
But then I think just because I think it takes a lot for Moyes to drop a player. So I wouldn't be shocked if Fabianski plays against Southampton.
That's what I was expecting.
Areola starts against Zagreb in the cup. That's where
you got to go into Europa going balls to the wall. Like you can't. You can't go with the B lineup against
I think
your toughest opponent in that group stage.
With the
and
group
if you're going to
have
take a game off, I think it's got to be Southampton, but I don't want to. It's too early. And
No.
West Ham's too easy of a team. Like West Ham's such a team to like go and like fucking drop a game against Southampton. Like,
I think
this is such a West Ham spot we're in right now.
Yeah, I think the best way to go into this, especially in the Europa group stage, is because of the teams. Like you say, I'm not overlooking them. But realistically, we should win that group. So I think the plan should be to go balls to the wall, try to win the first 4 games, and then that gives you the opportunity to take the last 2 games as a kind of rest games and let's start
I agree.
rotating the squad. But get through first.
And we're at Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah, so it's going to be an early game for us in the United States. I think the game starts at like 12:30.
Yeah, 11:45 my time, so 12:45 your time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so being on the road and that, like, I guess that doesn't matter anymore, does it? Road points don't hold any.
No.
Because didn't they do away with that this year?
Well, that wouldn't have counted in the group stage anyway.
Aggregate.
But no, that's only into the
I didn't
knockout.
know that.
I think the knockout rounds is where it goes. They've taken away the away goal rule.
So we just have two straight up games against Dinamo Zagreb then.
Well, we play the other 3 teams twice. So it's like a mini league.
Okay, no, because I didn't know. I didn't. I was just making sure that it wasn't like aggregate against 3 teams.
No. They're just all
Okay.
6 individual
That makes more
games.
sense. That makes more sense. That's why it's the Europa League and not the Europa Tournament. Even though it is a tournament, but still.
And then it gets confusing as shit because if you finish, because I was looking it up, like if you win the group, then you go through to the knockout stage. If you come second in the group,
playoff
you go to the playoff
stage.
knockout stage because you then play the teams that finished third in the Champions League group. It's like, oh Jesus Christ!
If you're third, you go to the Nations League or whatever it is.
Europa
the Tottenham
Conference League.
Yeah,
the
and then
Europa Tottenham League.
Exactly.
Because no one gives a shit about that. But I hope they don't win it because that'd be hilarious. Because they should win that. They should fucking crush that.
No, that's the most Tottenham
tournament.
thing ever. Like, cool. They made a tournament for you guys.
You suck so bad.
You
they had
made
to
one.
create a tournament for you.
They just
Well
call it the
done.
Harry Kane tournament eventually. Harry
Just to
Kane,
keep
here
him
you go,
happy.
buddy. Attaboy tournament.
Did you do well, tournament?
So good for you.
Oh, rub your cheeks. So that went off on a little bit of a tangent. But so Southampton, because obviously next week we're going to preview those other 2 games. But Southampton,
Right.
is it at?
That is a lot to think of, man. Though, like when you look at it, like it makes me happy. It's awesome that we're playing multiple games a week, but just like you're like, oh shit. Especially when you have a tough schedule ahead of 2 United games, as well as the Europa game. Yeah, it's interesting to kind of just look at like how they're going to plan out both teams, which makes you so happy that we went out and we signed all those fucking guys in the last week, right? Imagine if we hadn't. Like, cool. we're just gonna get rolled eventually.
It made this conversation way more boring because it's like, who do you think's going to start? The same team because we've only got 11 players.
We're dead.
But looking too far ahead, I mean, even into January. Did you hear the news about Jesse Lingard today?
No. What did he say?
Apparently, Manchester United offered him a new contract, and he said, "Nay, I don't want
I'm going
this
West
contract."
Ham for free, bitches.
So
Well, not for free, but we're not going to pay Man United for him.
So I was watching. I don't normally care about other teams' fan channels and things, but there's a guy. I don't know if you're familiar with the name, Mark Goldbridge. He's a hilarious guy, but he does some Man United shit. And his speculation is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whatever his name is, pretty much said, "Hey, no, we're gonna feature you as a first team player this year. You should stay here." And then I think Jesse Lingard pretty much called his bluff, and be like, "All right, well, let's see then, because then if I'm not, I'm fucking off for free next year." So it's just...
Okay, we have a transfer window that will open up after Christmas, correct? Because that's where we got him last year. It's very
January
possible that that's just where Man United moves him then, right? Like they're going to do a loan with intent to buy, right?
I think I could be wrong.
Because that's your last chance to get something for him. If he's not going to re-sign, which at this point, like, he's not going to re-sign. They're bringing in more guys that are taking his spot.
If Jesse Lingard is smart, and I believe he is, so this is where
He's getting international duty, you know? Like, this is a
In their
time where
last
he
year
needs
of
to
the
be
contract.
spreading his wings and flying.
because he can either, so they can sell him for money, in January, or if they don't sell him in January, then he can just leave. He'll be a free agent in the summer. Now, with the contract negotiations, what some players do is they will kind of find a middle ground where, like, okay, well, you was going to pay me X amount per week and then spend 20 million buying me, but now you get me for free. Let's take some of that 20 million you was going to give Man United and maybe put it into my wages. So I wouldn't be shocked if he just now holds out and be like, no, fuck it, I'm just going for free next summer and I'm just going to get extra wages in my contract next club.
Because at this point, getting called up to the national team, he's like, as bad as it seems, like he's still getting reps in front of people. So like, because didn't he score in the qualifiers?
He scored. No, it was against Andorra, so that's like basically.
Oh, well, I just saw it. I saw his Instagram.
He was I think he's.
JL, and so
I think he scored one and got 2 assists, or got 1 assist and 2 goals. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Regardless, he's still got the talent. He fit so well with this West Ham team last year. It's largely in a lot of ways the same. I can only imagine how awesome it would have been to have him in European football with us. But
I agree.
If we could get him like at a certain, I hope that his time with West Ham is not over for good. So like hopefully we can get him in the offseason or something like that.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked either way, but if I had to put money on it, I think no matter what, I think Jesse just sits out the rest of his contract, because now it's got to the point of like realistically, he's not going to suddenly drop off in the next 10, 11 months.
I don't think so. And if he knows that he's got that contract coming up potentially, he's only going to be hungrier for it. So,
because what they could do, because he has less than a year, I believe, I'm 99% sure this is how it works. Because he has less than a year left in his contract, West Ham, in theory, can start negotiating with him now and saying, "Hey, once your contract runs out, this is the contract we're going to offer you." So I'm pretty sure that can happen now. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's happening. I'm sure some clubs are like saying, "Hey, just wait till we just get you free, and we'll just give you some extra money." So I think it'd be an interesting one. But then also, I wouldn't be shocked if West Ham being West Ham suddenly pay Man United 20 million for January. Well, we could have just waited an extra couple of months and got it for free.
Yeah, that would make sense as well.
But also, so I don't think we should go for one in January, but I still think we need a striker.
No, I think we should.
What do you think we should?
I think we should go for a striker.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We need to add somebody, like whether it be a starter or somebody to go behind Antonio. Like we need depth. Antonio can't do it alone the whole season. And I understand it's very possible we could move somebody over there. We've already talked about that, but we need somebody that is like a striker, a born striker.
So at this point, I'm very happy with what Jesse Lingard did for us last season, and I'm not gonna be upset if he does sign with us. But right now, I think with the amount of depth we have in the middle where he plays, I wouldn't be sad if we don't, as long as we get a striker. If that makes sense.
Agreed. I agree.
Beautiful. All right, so score predictions. West Ham versus Southampton.
Positive vibes only 2-1 West Ham. I think we got to come out. I think we score, and we're going to do the West Ham thing where we concede at like the 65th minute, and then we're nervous as shit for the last like half of the game. So then we sweat it out, and we'll get the win. Fabianski just seems to not be able to have a clean sheet. I don't know what it is. It's like every week there's like one where you're just like, fuck, okay, almost had it. Our defense is like 90% good. 90% of the time. And there's that one lapse that they have every single game to just be like, you say, what the fuck? Thank God we can score.
Yeah, especially it was Crystal Palace's first goal last week. It was almost like you could see on Fabianski's face, he was kind of like, what the fuck was that?
What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Yeah, help me out.
Yeah,
I think 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah.
I think we got to get a win. We got to get a win here.
I would love to say we're going to get a clean sheet, but yeah, no, you're right. I don't have the confidence. So just to be different, I guess I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham.
I like that.
I think we have to win. We have to continue our winning ways, and then hopefully Tottenham lose, so we go back to the top of the league, and we can just laugh at all the Tottenham fans again.
That'd be funny.
That's more fun. And I think we've pretty much covered everything sports-wise. I think because that's it's pretty slow. Oh, drop the mic.
Hey, buddy, watch it.
It's just a preview week. But is there anything else you want to add to those games? I think we're pretty much.
Dude, I'm just stoked that the Giants are back this week, man. Don't let us down. Don't let us down. There's a little. I know that it is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. 20th anniversary of 9/11. A little tidbit to point out that I don't know if it matters to anybody but me, but I remember that September 10th, 2001, the Giants played the Broncos to start off the season that year on Monday Night Football. The following day, the September 11th attacks happened. And I think it was Monday Night Football, yeah. And now the Giants are playing like the weekend of. Like again, they're opening the season against the Denver Broncos, I believe in Denver on
the day after September 11th.
Yeah, so just 20 years to the day. It's kind of the same. I don't know. That's a stupid stat. I just was thinking about that today. Because I remember going to school being like, they're going to make fun of me about the Giants losing to the Broncos. And then September 11th happened, and definitely nobody was making fun of me at that point in time.
So I can nervously watching TV. How about those Giants? Huh?
Well, I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, when they lose, like I hate watching Sports Center and stuff because like when they cover your team losing, it's just I'm like, shut up, man. I know they lost. And it's like, yes, I'm being sensitive because it's my team. But then like that day, I was like, yeah, no, they're definitely not covering the Giants lost last night. It's way more important stuff.
Spina, have you watched that documentary on Netflix?
No, but I bookmarked it yesterday. People versus OJ. We rewatched that because the Monica Lewinsky American Crime Story starts today. But that 9/11 thing, is it just like a Bush hit piece? Is that what it is? I kind of get the vibe that that's what it was in the beginning.
No, it's more about the personal stories within. So each episode tends to revolve around this person that was trapped in the world, or this person that did something. So it doesn't. I think it mentions in this. How many?
No, I mean I get you got to mention that stuff, but sometimes when you watch when you're like, all right, you guys are just this. There's an agenda to this, and I'm okay. All right. But like, I don't know.
It doesn't. I think it might mention his name once.
It's like I didn't do anything on 9/11 to help, but I'd like to feel like me watching the documentaries makes it like not forget. I don't know.
But no, it's definitely more because I remember going into it thinking this is going to be a tough watch because I mean I was only 16 at the time, but I remember
I was in 6th grade.
Like crazy, like I remember it like yes, but so I knew this was going to be a heavy watch. Don't get me wrong, but it's even then it's like, whew, like we was going to binge watch it, and after the second episode,
yeah, you're like, maybe we space this out. I'm not really ready to binge this one.
She was like, should we watch the next episode? Can I take a break? Like I need
to just sit and cry for a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely recommend it. But yeah, it's a tough watch.
Have you been to the museum?
No, I didn't go to the museum. I went to that. So I went before that was all a thing. I just went to the fountains and stuff. Which is
I've heard the museum is one of like the most incredible, like incredibly like it's depressing, but it's like one of the most incredibly done museums ever.
Yeah, my parents.
Everybody says you have to do like 4 or 5 hours. Like you have to set aside like half a day to go do it because they're like you really want to experience all of the stuff, but you're just sad the whole time.
Yeah, my parents went when they came to visit, and they said it was pretty incredible. But a little thing I remember, like so around the fountain, they have all the names etched into it, like of the people that died. And I guess I don't know whose job it is, but on their birthday, they like put a little flower in their name.
Oh, that's cool.
So every now and again, you see these little flowers. It's pretty. But on a lighter, not so much a lighter note, but I remember. So this is a little story about not necessarily 9/11, but so when I first came to New York, before I was ever connected with a New Yorker, so I was just literally just a tourist about like 13 years ago. And so at the time, we were spending like 5 days in New York. We have no idea if we were ever going to come back. Little did I know. But we was kind of like, okay, where do we need to go? Where do we need to go? Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, we need to just be, you have to go to ground. It was ground zero at the time. There was no Freedom Tower. There's nothing like that. It was it was still a mess-ish down there. And so I was like, oh, yeah, well, we should definitely go there, just check it out, pay our respects, and blah, blah, blah. And a friend of mine who had previously been to New York, about a year or so before, he was like, just want to warn you, it's a bit depressing. I was like, really? What? So I thought it was like raves there all 24/7. What the fuck? Oh, wow, whatever. There you go. This is the same friend who, when I went to Cancun, and have you ever been to like an all-inclusive resort in Cancun or anything like that?
Never in those locations, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Where every now and again, like the hotel will put on like shows and things like that for the guests and blah blah blah. So this one night, this hotel was doing a Michael Jackson show at the hotel, and so me and my buddy was like, fuck it, like we'll wait because we're gonna go out, but this is early, so we'll just go here, check it out. It's free, whatever. And I said to him, hey, do you want to come see the Michael Jackson show? And he goes, probably not even the real Michael Jackson.
Probably not. You're right, dude.
Probably not. So yeah, I would be shocked to find out that one of the biggest music stars ever is performing at this all-inclusive hotel in Cancun.
Yeah.
2, Michael Jackson had been dead 2 years at this point. So thank you for pointing that out. That is probably not the real Michael Jackson. Fucking idiot. He's
it's amazing what technology can do these days, though. So you never know.
I did see a Michael Jackson hologram in Las Vegas, but that's. But do you ever like before we? And do you have any of those friends that are like really, really smart, but also dumb as shit sometimes? And you're like, you are the dumbest smart person I know.
Sometimes, yeah.
I
I feel like I'm that guy too. I'm not smart. I'm dumb at most things, but I'm smart. I can tell you like random Super Bowls like that. I can do all that stuff, but that's it. Can't solve math problems.
Oh wait, so are you saying you're that person? You're the dumbest smart person?
I'm the dumb one for sure. I'm not smart though. I'm like just the dumbest dumb person.
Or the smartest dumb person.
Maybe I'd really take that title. Yeah.
Coming up in the next couple of days. Tomorrow, how many podcasts you got this week? 7? Because I know there's about 12 weeks left of Big Brother.
Tomorrow. No, there's like 4 weeks left of Big Brother. 3 weeks left of Big Brother. I have 2 tomorrow, 1 on Thursday. So, Pass the Gay Bro. If you watch Big Brother, check that out. That's solely based on the television show Big Brother. So if you're watching this, you won't get it.
If you're watching this, you're probably a big fan of niche podcasts. So
so that'd be a great one. But my main one is Pass the Gravy, which we will do an episode of that. We're gonna completely preview the NFL season. We have our Pass the Gravy picks segment where Pat and I pick against each other against the spread. We'll talk about mostly the NFL. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be a lot of football talk, college football's return, and then we'll answer some questions. I've got some more solid ideas that I'm going to throw out there to the people, and we'll tell you guys what's not cool this week. What about you on Waffle Box? What you got going on there?
I was going to say, spoiler alert, even though you haven't even recorded it yet, I bet you're the only one who has ideas. That's all. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Again, yeah. Apparently, I'm the only one that brings any ideas in. They're like, well, you got it. I'm like, what if I don't, though, guys? What if I don't?
You should do that. Try that tomorrow.
No, because it'll hurt the podcast. I'm a podcast guy. I'm for the pod.
Still,
just trick them.
But yeah, at the beginning, just trick them. Like, I got nothing, guys.
You know what? I'm gonna throw it to y'all, fools. That's actually a really good idea. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna give that a go.
But knowing then, they're probably
they're paying attention now.
Let's just go into the next segment. Oh no, fuck you.
Yeah, Robert would be like, cool. We just cut off 30 minutes of this podcast. Awesome.
Did you try? Because I didn't. I skipped because I won't skip. But yeah, did you try the hello rather than the pew pews this week?
I did not. I should have though. Maybe this week is the week.
Maybe. But yeah, Waffle Box new episode coming out tomorrow. We are talking about some pro wrestling because pro wrestling's back in a big way. Because there's so much wrestling on TV right now that if you want to, it's on every night pretty much. And also we're going to talk about Michael Jordan's used underwear, which you can buy now online, which is great, I guess. And also a dumb world record where someone, why I'm trying to get into the head of these people that try these world records and they're dumb. Like this guy did the bouncy ball thing. What are they called?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he did that for like 10 miles. Like, we're trying to get.
I'm eating crawfish for 85 straight weeks, so hey, maybe chill out on yelling at people with Guinness Books of World Records.
But at least you get something out of that. You get nutrition. What do you get out of bouncing on a ball for 10 miles?
Pride.
And a sore ass. But
That
there
too.
you go. And also we're going to talk about Shang-Chi, the new Marvel movie coming out. So, yes, so check that out at waffleboxpod.com, at PassTheGravyPod. Is it PassTheGravyPod.com?
PassTheGravyPod.com, yeah.
Yes, okay. Well, for some reason I'm doing a podcast.
And at PassTheGravyPod on Twitter and Instagram.
Waffleboxpod, PassTheGravyPod. Check it out. Follow us. And new episodes coming out tomorrow. Beautiful stuff. Anything you want to add to, you want to say to the good people of the Claret and Big Crew / Gravy Gang cross section?
Let's go West Ham and let's go Giants. Let's go 2-0 this weekend, fellas and ladies. Let's go.
Do it.
Boom.
Come on, you Irons, and then we'll see you next Tuesday.